Hello everyone, welcome to this new tutorial. This is tutorial number 7, and in this tutorial I'll be showing you how to make a plot that has two x-axis and one y-axis. So basically you have something that looks like this. You have x1 and x2 sharing the same y-axis. And you can see that the scales for the two x-axis are different, like the data that they are representing are different. All right, let's just go back to the table. So right here we have an hypothetical set of data, x1 and x2 with corresponding y-axis. So they're representing different variables all tied to the same y-axis. So I will go ahead and make this plot. So what we're gonna do is that we will first make a plot of the x1 and with the corresponding y-axis, and we'll go to plot. So the way, in case, let me just explain this. So the way I selected the x1 and y is I click on the control button or command in the Mac and select the two axes that I want, the x1 and y. And then I go to plot, and then I go to symbol, and then you select scatter. So you have this right here. So you have your x1 and y. But how do we introduce the second x-axis and the corresponding y-axis? So the easiest way to do that is to select this mirror axis here. So when you click that, you open up another layer, layer number 2. And that layer number 2 has the corresponding x-axis and y-axis. So now to introduce the data that will be a component of that layer, I'm going to right click and select plot setup. Now you select the plot setup, this comes up. So because my data is in the book 1, I'm going to select book 1. If you have another book that contains the data of interest, you have to select that book right here. Maybe book 2. Book 2 is going to show up here, and then you have to select. So basically, what will show up here will be the books that you have as part of the project. So you can have book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4. But in essence, you have to go to where your data of interest is. So when I selected book 1, the information that is present in book 1 is shown here. So we have x1, x2, and y. So I've already plotted x1 with y. Next thing I want to do is to plot x2 with y, right? So before I do that, and I want to make the plot to be a scatter plot, not a line plot. So I have to change these to scatter plot, okay? So select scatter. And then I'm going to select x2 as my x-axis. Like you see here, you have x, y, y, arrow. So this is whenever you have standard deviation. Okay, so I selected x2, and then I am selecting y as the y-axis. So after selecting this, I'm going to go ahead and add it to the plot list. So I added it to the plot list, and here is what I have. And then I go ahead and click OK. So now you see another thing, another data set that's been introduced into the plot, and it's tied to this x2 axis and y axis. Okay, just to prevent confusion, I'll go ahead and change the color and the legend. So I'll double click on this, and then this change. I'm gonna change this to a circle. Probably make this 15 and change the color to blue. And I'm going to do the same thing for the data layer 1, which is the x1y. So click on that, and I'm going to change this to red and change the size to 15. Okay, so I click OK, and now we have a new data set. Okay, now one thing to look at for is that since we are trying to make the y-axis to be the same, the first thing that will come to your site is that we have the y-axis here and here are on different scale. So I want to adjust the scale to be essentially the same. So the first thing I'll do is to confirm or to identify the scale that we use in the first y-axis. So to do that, I'm going to double click on this axis, and then this box will show up, and it's telling me that my my y-axis run from negative 0.5 to positive 2.25 with an increment value of 0.5. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate those information on the y-axis here by double clicking, and this box shows up. So I'm running from negative 0.5 to positive 2.25, and the increment is by 0.5. Okay, now the ball looked the same, right? Running from negative 0.5 to positive 2.25 and an increment of 0.5. But since this y-axis are essentially on the same scale, I'm going to turn off this right y-axis to avoid redundancy and to make the data look more professional. Okay, so I'll just delete this, select and delete, and then I will double click this line, and then I'll turn off the axis ticks. So come to major, I'm going to turn it off, none. Come to minor, I'm going to turn it off, none. And then I'll click OK. That's it. Okay. So another thing that you will need to do, is to cater for the incremental value of this. So this on the X2 is increasing by 0.1, and you can see that some of the data do not fall directly on those 0.1 increment. So what I'm going to do is to change it from 0.1 negative 0.1 to 0.05. So double click on that line, and I'm going to change this to 0.05. Okay, and then you can see that this shows more. Another thing that I like to do, I don't like my ticks to be inside, so I'm just going to switch this from the major minor tick showing inside to them showing outside. So double click on the line, this box shows up, and then go to line and tick, and then you change from in to out. Okay, and you can see it changes automatically. So while still here, some other things I like to do is to make some aesthetic changes. So change this the thickness of the line to 3 from 1.5 to 3, and the length of the ticks from 8 to 15. Okay, so I'm going to use the same thing on the bottom x-axis. So click apply. Oh no, I shouldn't have done that. Let's see. Okay, now we're back. Anyways, since I duplicated the axis, that's going to be kind of not good, because it's going to basically make another axis, and then it makes your data looks clumsy. Okay, so let me just go back and let's pretend as if I didn't do anything. So I just double click this and change the thickness again. Okay, so line ticks, change this to 3, change this to 15, and click apply. Looks good. I did the same for the left. Let's see, let me just do the same for the right, because we are working. The reason this looks complicated is because we are working on layer 2, right? And the data for layer 2, the plot for layer 2 is essentially the top X and the right Y axis. So I cannot duplicate or replicate what I've done for the top X and right Y to bottom X and left Y on layer 2. What that would do is to create another X and Y on layer 2 and make my data look clumsy. So any adjustment I want to make to X1 and Y, the bottom and the left has to be done in layer 1. Okay, there are ways to go around this, but this is just a simple way to start and understand this, not to confuse you. All right, so now I'll change this to 3. So this, we are looking at the right y-axis. Okay, so I'm changing this to since I don't have any tick, there's no point changing this because this with a tick. So I just click apply. Okay, now we can work with this, and you can see as soon as I click it, it changes to layer 1. So now we can go to tick, change this to 3, and change this to 15, and come to bottom, change this to 3, and change this to 15. Click OK. All right, so what else do I need to do? I like to change the page height and width. I like my data to be square, so I changed the height to 10.72 to 10.72, and now looks nicer to me. Okay, so what else do you want to do? So if we want to fit this data linearly, you just select this, okay, and go to analysis, fitting, linear fit, last use, boom, that's it. And then you do the same for the red data, select it, analysis, fitting, linear fit, last use, boom, and that is it. Okay, so one thing that we need to change probably is to change the color of the linear fits so that we will be able to identify, oh, this is representing the blue data and this is representing the red data. So I'll just change this by double clicking on the line, change the width to 3, change the color to blue, and then click OK. And do the same for this. Just change the width to 3 because it's already red and it's fitting the red data, so just click OK. Okay, so what else would you think we should do? So if you want to be very fancy and not even fancy, to be more explanatory, I would say is to change the color of the x-axis. So for example, we know that this x2 is representing the plot for this blue data. So for someone to be able to come to your graph and immediately understand what this plot is representing, it will be helpful to change this x-axis to blue, x2 to blue, and x1 to red. And to do that, so for the x2, let's start with that, changing it to blue. Double click on the axis, and then you come to let's see, you can check it one by line antics. We change this to blue. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Okay, so that's it. Then we can change the labelings to blue as well. Just click on them, you come here, you change to blue, you change your axis label as well, you change to blue. Alright, for this, you come down, we're changing this to red. You double click it, this comes up, you come to line and tick, and then you change this to red. You can see Origin is very smart. It knows, you can see I'm just selecting auto. So it knows that, okay, this is representing the red data. So you just click red and changes everything. You click apply or click OK. And then you do the same for this. You come here, you select the color, auto is red. Okay. All right. So anyone that comes to your graph will know right away that, okay, this one here is representing the blue data and this X here is representing the red data. All right. So one other thing I like to do is to change the size of the axis numbering. So I prefer to use 28, and I like to bold it, but that's up to you if you want to. And I can shift this. And then for the labels, I will use this 36. Okay. And come in here. Let me move it color a little bit. And here, the same thing, 28. Okay. And then 36. down a little bit. Okay, it looks good. Then you come here. This 28, too big, right? Everything looks cluttered. So what you can do in this case is to adjust the scale. Okay. So double click. Instead of using 0.2, you can use maybe 0.4 and click apply. Does it look good? Perfect. It looks good. So we're changing this to 36. Okay. And then this is our plot. So it's very simple. So this explains how to make a plot of 2x axis with one y axis. Okay, so and next thing you probably want to do is to put the legend. But yeah, so to do that, I'll just come here, right click, plots, come here, and then look for legend. I think update legend. Where is it? Legend, yeah. Update legend. Yes, whole page. Yeah, you want to click the whole page. If you click only the active layer, it's just going to show for this layer 1. So you want the whole page, and then you click OK, and yeah, it's actually showing just for layer 2, but that's fine anyway. We already have this for the red data already made here. So then you can give it any name you like, change it, do the same for this, you change this. So it's up to you what you want to call it. Yeah. So yeah, turn this off. I don't like this. Turn this off to white. Yeah. So that is it. That is how to make a plot. And yeah. So if you have any question about this, you can leave a comment below. And as soon as I get your question, I'll attend to them and provide a response. And if you want me to make a video specifically on how to use Origin to do something, you can also leave a comment below. As soon as I receive them, I'm going to respond to them. Actually, this video was requested by somebody that wants me to show how to make multiple plots on Eagle and on Origin rather. With maybe 2 x-axis, 1 y-axis, or 2 y-axis, 1 x-axis. You can do a lot of fun things with Origin. So if you ever run into a wall and you need help, you can just leave a comment on my video. If I receive them notification about them, I'm going to attend to them. And please remember to subscribe to my channel to receive a notification about new videos that I release that will be helpful to you. And also, please click the like button to make the YouTube algorithm to be able to bring this video up whenever people search for them, so they'll be able to take advantage of this useful content. Yeah. So that'll be it for the tutorial number 7. I hope to see you again in the next tutorial number 8. And before then, I hope you have a great time. Bye. See you soon.